Scrappy friends. I have a Scrappy Playdate with Alicia and Hannah video for you today. And I know my YouTube channel is hopping. Yeah. So, anyway, you are watching me try to do an ombre effect with some distress inks on that embossed paper. Today, Alicia and I are going to be using embossing folder die cut type items. I know for Christmas I got an Evolution, and that's by, I think it's We Are Memory Keepers, if I remember correctly. And I don't use it nearly enough. So when we were talking about what kind of stuff maybe we could use, I was thinking, hey, I should use, it's something that I have and I don't use it nearly enough. And I don't have a silhouette cutter, so I have to do everything manual, which makes it harder and easier all at the same time. So, and I have that stitched embossing folder, which is so pretty because it has these stitched hearts. So you're really not going to be able to even see it in the close-ups. I should have thought to put it up close to the camera so you guys could see it. It is gorgeous. So if I remember correctly, when I post this maybe on my blog, I'm going to try to post this one on my blog. I'll take a picture of it or something so that people can see it. So if you're interested in that, leave that in the comments and so that I can remember to do that. So yeah. So as you could see me playing around, I really wanted that wood grain with that Dear Lizzie blue teal polka dot paper, which is like, I think that is one of my favorite all-time papers. Like, I love that color. It just reminds me of the ocean, so it goes perfectly with my photo. But I really wanted like that darker grained wood paper just to kind of break it up, because I felt like there's all this blue and teal colors, but it needed something to help ground it or something. I don't know. I just felt like my photo would have got lost. So I decided to use some layers, but I was trying to keep it nice and soft also, if that makes any sense. So I picked that pink paper, which was actually an afterthought, but then I have that blue paper that is from the Rise and Shine collection from Amy Tan. And I really love the color of that. It's very, very similar, but maybe a little more toned down as the Dear Lizzie. I love that side too. I should have got two of that. Maybe if I remember, I'll buy another piece, but I don't know. Anyway, so I ink some of the edges. So I also cut out some frames that I had from Pink Fresh Studio. They're like the slide frames. And they're really, really a fun way to add some, I want to say dimension, but just add some funness, really, to a layout. And just to do something different. I like that concept of layering frames. And I don't always remember, well, one, I don't buy just normal frames anymore, because I know I'm not going to use a whole big pack. But it's nice when you have a die, because you can cut out a few and say, yay, I have some, and just use a few. So I thought that they looked really good layered. As you could see, I layered spread them all out, but I didn't like it like that. I really like the way that it looks when they intersect. And then I decided, because I was watching a Missy layout, because, I mean, who doesn't love Missy, right? And she was doing mixed media, like always. And I know I had watched a Stamping Rooster, and she was doing mixed media. And so I was like, I need to do mixed media. So I thought about using the bag technique, and all I had was that glassine bag, and that wasn't working. And since I pulled out my gelatos, because I really wanted to use them since I haven't used them in a while, it's really just almost as easy to use your finger. And I like to use the gesso with it because it moves around a lot more. If you're just using it on a plain paper, well, one, your paper is going to soak up. Though I was surprised that my paper still soaked up quite a bit of that the media that I did. And then so I just used some blues and like a teal color. And I tried to use my finger to get it to be more of like a dreamy, mushy effect since I couldn't find another bag. But then I wanted to add another a layer because, you know, I can't just do one little thing. And so I'm going to use this Dear Lizzie stencil because I have it and it's beautiful and I really need to use it. So I'm using some acrylic paints and I'm trying to mix the darker and the lighter like blue colors because on that paper there's the two different colors. So, but I didn't want to overboard it. So I just use a little bit on that blender tool. And then I just kind of blend it in. And it's just a little bit. And I don't mind that this acrylic paint is going on spots that maybe doesn't have the gesso because I'm using such a thin layer that really it's not going to matter much. I think the gelatos is where, and the watercolors is where you really need to add the gesso because otherwise, because you add so much of liquid to those, and you might not even try to add liquid, but there's a lot more liquid that you need to get it to blend. So I wanted to keep some white on these, but I cut a little bit more off of one of the sides, and so I didn't know if I could fix it, so I just cut them all off. And I really love this. I used this in my Project Life the other day too when I was doing Project Life, and I really loved it. Actually, I pulled some of the papers that I had together and some of those. And sometimes I do that. Like, I'll have leftover papers that I cut up from something, a different layout or a different project that I was working on, and they'll still speak to me. So I'll want to get them on another layout. And I know, you know, I go back and forth in my mind of whether I think that's a good idea or not because I'm like, but I just use them and I don't want it to be overload. But the thing is if those papers are speaking to you, sometimes you just have to go with it. You just have to go with stuff that inspires you, and like you can't be afraid to do that. And so really what I did was I added some other papers that mixed it up so it doesn't feel like all I'm using is the same papers over and over. And so I'm doing my classic layering technique where I'll put a layer and I kind of twist it a little bit, and then I just use, because I can't cut straight, I use my cutter. Otherwise I would just use my scissors, but I know I can't cut, and for whatever reason, I do not like when I cut and my paper is a little like not straight. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but when it's like, I will noticeably cut not straight and it drives me nuts. So, and see all that wood grain with the embossing folder, you only see a little bit, and I was kind of sad, but I really wanted to use that bag because I added some of that media to it. And so it had like this pink on it, and I think that it just ties in the pink from the background a little bit more. And I really like how that turned out. I love the way the layers turned out. And I just showed a little bit of each of the papers. I didn't want too much to like stick out because I wanted to keep them nice and tight. But I also wanted, you know, I wanted it to look pretty because my photo is gorgeous. Sometimes I'm amazed at how well my photos actually look when I take them. Like, I just can't believe that, oh my gosh, this looks gorgeous. And I did edit that just a little. Like, I played with the contrast and stuff just a little because I really wanted that blue, like the sand, to stand out. So the sand looks maybe a little bit whiter than it would in real life. But I love this photo because it was cloudy this day. But when we looked out at the ocean, it didn't look cloudy. It was right behind us. So I love how it's like such a deceiving photo. And in my journaling, I talk about how we went to go to the beach because this is a day that we were going to go to the beach, and my husband was on leave, so it was one of the last few days right before he was on leave that we had the time to be able to go to the beach. And so, you know, we got up early and it looked a little cloudy where we live. And that's not uncommon for us. We're right next to a mountain. So it's not uncommon for it to be cloudy where we are. And then, so we were hoping that as we drove towards the North Shore, which is the area-ish that we like to go a lot of times. There's a few beaches that we like out on the North Shore area. And so we're driving around, and the closer we get to the ocean, the more clouds there are, and then it starts raining, and oh my gosh, we're like, oh no. And yeah, so by the time we got towards, this is Waimea Bay, which is on the other side of it, is right next to the mountains, and then there's like a waterfall area that you have to walk to. But it's a gorgeous bay. I mean, the water always looks beautiful, and in the wintertime you'll see surfers way far out. It's really, really nice, but it's hard to go there because it gets really busy when it's really nice out because it's such a beautiful beach. But so I love the way that it looked, and of course you just see me layering. I'm just talking, guys. I hope you like me talking about Hawaii because you missed like all my layering. So the title of this layout is called Beach Fail because it totally failed. And when we got here, I think it stopped raining for like 5 minutes while we were we had to go to the bathroom. So we decided to get up and go. But it was like, it stopped for like 5 minutes and then it would rain. And the sand was all gross and wet. And I don't know about you, but I do not want to put a dry towel on a wet sand. So yeah, but that was okay because I got a cute picture out of it, and you know, I mean, it ended up being a nice day as far as like we relaxed and had fun together. And oh yeah, I don't want to forget to tell you guys that when I put the fail, that is the Dear Lizzie like wood grain font, and it's really pretty, but it was blending in too much. So when I was putting my splatters on, I decided to add some of the Distress ink that I had with a little bit of the neon pink ink that I had out. And I just kind of blended them together, and I just used a little water with my paintbrush, and I added that to it because I didn't feel like it was standing out. And I mean, I know on here it's kind of hard to see. You can see it on the wood grain, but so those chevrons gave me a hard time. After I was done, I used glossy. I decided not to do that on screen because I knew it was going to take me a while to make sure I got it pretty straight. But I got glue all over my fingers. I hate that. So I just added bits and pieces, and you see me like just kind of looking. And then this is where I realized that, you know, I don't think I'm going to find anything else. And I really didn't want to overdo it, but I wanted just a few things. And yeah, you've seen that I had that chipboard surfboard, and that was perfect for that layout. It was fun. And so I'm doing just drop the sequins, and wherever they pretty much fall is where they end up getting glued method of adding sequins. I actually haven't done that method in a while, so it worked out perfectly. And I knew that I wanted to add some black splatters, though I didn't do that on screen. So I used a green, like teal color, or like a blue tealy color, and then this pink color. So and then I added a couple of enamel dots and enamel hearts. And then that is going to be it. So guys, go check out Alicia's video and see what she is doing with her die cuts and stuff. I can't wait to see her video. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye!